All right, good afternoon, evening, everyone. Just like I promised, I don't want this week to run out without doing anything. So I decided to record myself just like I told you during the meeting. So I'll record the study section 1 from that module 1, general introduction to medical biochemistry, so that you can use the weekend and go through this as part of the course. If you have any question, I will first link to the platform and we can discuss on that, and you can raise your question and we can take questions together. All right, so the study session 1 says Introduction to Physiological and Pathological Chemistry. This is basically the introduction to biochemistry, and the content of this part is all about introducing what is biochemistry, what are branches of biochemistry, and so far, what are the breakthroughs achieved in biochemistry, and how is the biochemistry, specifically medical biochemistry, is related to other life sciences. So what is biochemistry? Biochemistry, just like chemistry, is a branch of chemistry that deal with the chemical reactions that specifically occur in living organisms. In chemistry, we talked about chemical reactions taking place either it's in the biological system or outside the biological system. But in biochemistry, we deal with chemical reactions only occur in biological system. How do these reactions related to biological process? Just like we know that not only a human body, but living organisms are basically made up of elements. These elements comes together to give off an organism. How do we know that? Specifically in human system, the human system is made up of about 11 essential elements, although there are many more other elements that play a very important role. But essentially, we have 11, which include the oxygen contributing about 65%, carbon 18%, hydrogen 9.5%, nitrogen, calcium, phosphorus. We have potassium, sulfur, sodium, chlorine, magnesium, and other succination, which contribute to less than 1%. So, and each of these elements are found either in form of water, which forms the 62% of the human body, and either as protein, minerals, carbohydrates. So this course talked about biochemistry of micromolecules, and definitely we will be talking about the protein. What are the constituents of the proteins? How are these proteins formed from these elements? And we also talked about the carbohydrate. We also talked about we're also going to talk about the carbohydrate, the chemistry of carbohydrate. What are the constituents of carbohydrates? What elements comes together to give a carbohydrate? And so also fat. So how do these elements come together to build up a human being? We know that these elements can, most particularly carbon can react with itself, or it can form a bond with itself to form a carbon-carbon bond, and this leads to formation of a lot of carbon compounds. So carbon can form a compound with carbon, sorry, can form a bond with carbon, a bond with hydrogen, a bond with nitrogen, and phosphorus, and that can lead to formation of different molecules. So these elements combine together to form molecules. Specifically in the biological system, we refer them to as biomolecules. These biomolecules can be amino acids, can be fatty acids, can be sugar as monosaccharides, and we have these amino acids combining together to form the polymer we call the macromolecule of the protein. And we have a monosaccharide, sugar combined together to form the carbohydrate, here represented as the HO. And we also have these fatty acids coming together to give liquid donuts in the form of polymer, as in the case of protein and carbohydrate. So we'll see how lipid is not considered as a polymer, whereas protein and carbohydrate is considered a polymer. We also talked about nucleotides. Talk about nucleic acid, how nucleic acid is formed from a nucleotide, how a nucleotide monomer comes together to give a polymer, which we call a nucleic acid. So we also, so how do these macromolecules combine together to form a supramolecule like membrane and organelles? And these organelles also comes together to form a cell, and a number of cells work together to form a tissue, and the tissue forms, a number of tissue form an organ, a number of organs work together to give a system, and a number of systems work together to give an organism. So we have an organism made up of these constituents, and these constituents that are actually a building block from elements. We also know that biological processes is made up of chemical, mostly chemical reactions. So these elements form a kind of a building block within the formation of these macromolecules, and then the macromolecules from supramolecules. The supramolecules give rise to cells, tissue, organ, system, and then organisms. So we're looking at the elemental composition, even in the human system, using 62% is water, and the remaining are protein, carbohydrates, minerals, and oil that comes together to give up human system. So biochemistry have a lot of branches. Number one, we say the natural product chemistry. In this aspect, biochemistry, plant secondary metabolite, we are primary metabolite and the secondary metabolite. In the primary metabolite, deal basically with what we just mentioned, amino acid, monosaccharides, fatty acids, which carry out the basics biochemical process, which play an important role in maintaining physiological homeostasis. But in the same way, they also produce secondary metabolite, which basically from a kind of protection against external bodies, etc. So in natural product chemistry, this aspect of biochemistry deal with this secondary metabolite and how this secondary metabolite play a very important role in biological system, maybe used as a drug candidate targeting a particular disease condition. We also have endemology. In endemology, we deal with enzymes because we made mention of proteins, and we have a different type of proteins, and some of these are enzymes. And these enzymes, we know they are biological catalysts. They facilitate a chemical reactions or catalyze the chemical reactions. So there is aspect of biochemistry that deal with these enzymes, how the enzymes convert a substrate to a product. How do they do it? How fast do they do it? We also have a toxicology. In toxicology deal with the adverse effects of foreign substances in biological system. And of course, human system or biological system know some endogenous compounds like the proteins we mentioned, the carbohydrates, the lipids, fat and oil. So even when you take a food that contains carbohydrates, fat and oil, the body already know about the constituent of this food component. It knows about the fatty acid, it knows about the monosaccharides, it knows about the amino acids. But in a situation, you take something that the body doesn't know about, just like when we talk about the natural product chemistry, we mentioned plant secondary metabolites. The plant secondary metabolite may not even be known by the human system. So when you take in these substances, they are considered as foreign substances. So these foreign substances may have an adverse effect. Some of them, of course, will have a biological effect, but when it becomes out of control, or it goes out of control, it's become an adverse effect, thereby can even be considered as the toxins are causing harmful effects in the biological system. So we also have a molecular biology. Molecular biology deals with nucleic acid, gene expressions, and regulation of the gene expression. Talk about the structure of the nucleic acid, how this nucleic acid store information in form of gene, how these genes or how this information is actually converted to protein process called the gene expression, and how this process being regulated expression or your expression. We also have a medical biochemistry. In medical biochemistry, we deal about those chemical reactions that have a direct connection with disease conditions. There are some certain reactions that once altered, they can cause a lot of disease conditions, and probably we'll see a lot of these reactions, and definitely during our, even though this cost talked about, I don't know, I'm not sure, but I feel like it's more of chemistry, but rather when we go into the testing, we'll find out. So if there is if it is the metabolism, then we'll definitely talk about some of these reactions that lead to a lot of disease that you are very much aware. Then you will have an idea of how these diseases actually come about at molecular level, and why even some drugs that actually get used to target these diseases, and what exactly these drugs do. And what exactly these drugs do, still about, is more about pharmacological aspect of biochemistry. The drug actions, how does the drug work to prevent occurrence, to stop a particular disease condition. We have also plant biochemistry, but this one talked about the basic chemical reactions that occur in plants. We have environmental biochemistry. In environmental biochemistry deal with the chemical reactions that has to do with processes affecting environment in the ecosystem. We have some chemical reactions, especially used for environmental killing of like the bioremediation process, where toxic substances are converted to non-toxic substances. So some of them are enzymes being utilized to combat toxic substances in the environment. Non-toxic, or in some cases, biological machineries of the microorganisms are used to combat these substances. And also conditions, harsh conditions resulting from climate changes, changes in the way that causes a lot of problems. For example, we talked about bioenergy instead of the use of fossil fuels. We use fossil fuels into the use of carbon dioxide, and carbon dioxide is one the major constituent of greenhouse gases, and this is global warming, the climate change. So in biochemistry, in environmental biochemistry, and alternatives to energy sources like bioenergy, bioethanol, biodiesel, can be used in carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. And also generating stress tolerance. We talked about this is basically more on agricultural biochemistry, but we also have industrial biochemistry, which is dealing with reactions that can be used for industrial productions, mainly product like production of citric acid, production of alcohol, so many fermentation processes. Some of these are actually biological reactions that are used to produce some substances that are used as maybe source of food, as a mentioned, ethanol, glucose, so many things we can produce in the industry that use biological reactions. So they just simulate the reactions for a particular enzyme, do this, do that, to take up the enzyme out of the body, maybe the test tube, and the business to produce this industrial skills to taking market. Okay, breakthrough in biochemistry. There are a lot of breakthrough in biochemistry. This is just, I give an example from so many things that discovered. The first one is the discovery of DNA structure in 1953 by James Watson and Inistry, where the double helix structure of the DNA is charming. Knowing the DNA structure form a kind of revolution to molecular biology and genetics. It has discovery of genes, how genes are expressed, general molecular biology, how these genes code for particular proteins, these protein expressions have been linked to biological activities, disease conditions, etc. We have CRISPR-Cas9 as the gene editing tools in 2017. This is basically a gene editing where a gene can be removed, a gene can be inserted into a system. For example, a disease gene can be identified with a particular disease, let's say sickle cell anemia, which is as a result of the defect in a particular gene. So CRISPR-Cas9 technology can be used to remove this particular gene. We will have listen to the better gene. So it is a very important gene therapy. And we also have human genome project in 2003, where the complete genome of a human being, the complete DNA sequence of a human being was obtained. This gives a blueprint. How to personalize medicine in genetic research. This how we identifying some possible diseases that actually affect human beings, how the sites differ from other organisms, how some organisms are resistant to particular conditions while humans are not, what makes the difference. Enzyme catalysis, the relationship between the structure and the activity of an enzyme, the mechanisms of how an enzyme work, how an enzyme converts the substrate to product, how that It's been explored also, especially in pathological, biochemistry, how an enzyme interacts with a particular substrate. This knowledge will use to treat the enzyme so that a particular compound can be used that will like a substrate. So that once that compound gets attached to the enzymes, the enzyme can no longer convert it to the substrate, and then it can inhibit the enzyme, preventing the enzyme from doing what it does. As such, if the enzyme malfunction, then it's inhibited in a particular disease condition. So in a particular disease condition where a particular enzyme activity is not needed, or the activity of the enzyme leads to a particular disease, you can design a substrate that look like a compound that look like the substrate of that enzyme. So that enzyme can take off the substrate, thinking that it is its own substrate. By taking it out, the substrate can inhibit the enzyme, thereby the disease condition can be pushed. We also have development of monoclonal antibodies. You have antibodies technologies. I think you can have this technology, especially with avoidance. We have messenger RNA vaccine technology. This 2020 COVID-19 vaccine, Pfizer vaccine, Moderna. These ones are the necessities ones we already know. And basically, about messenger RNA vaccine technology. Protein folding, ribozymes, membrane biochemistry and transport, metabolic engineering, and synthetic biology. So relevance of biochemistry to some other life sciences. We have microbiology, this is how to explain microbial metabolisms, how microorganisms can be used in different industrial activities, determining the growth of the microorganisms. This also helps in understanding the metabolisms and thereby developing drugs that can be used as antibiotics. A particular drug that can inhibit a particular reaction organism, thereby leading to the death of the organisms. We also have botany and plant science, understanding of photosynthesis, the chemical reactions involved in the production of food like plant, uptake of nutrients and plant hormones. Zoology, understanding the digestion, respiration, and reproduction of different organisms and how that can be linked to health and the behavior, and also nutrition and dietetics. How these nutrients have been metabolized and their role in energy productions and disease prevention. So this is basically what we're supposed to cover in modern study session 1. So please go through this recording, and if you have any question, we'll discuss in the platform. Let's do it before I think our class, then I will do a recording for the next study session so that our class will be on study session, so that this will have covered and the student session, which is self-structural function. All right, thank you very much.